I just want to welcome everybody here today to this exercise class. I hope you have fun and find it useful. So we're starting with a bit of a warm-up, and I'm just marching on the spot. Nice and easy. Maybe go a little bit wide. This is just a warm-up. Come back in. And I tap to the side and extend my arms in front. Nice and easy. And then I punch in front and tap behind me. And if you want, if that bothers you a little bit, you can always hinge the elbows back as you tap behind. Nice and easy. Should be feeling a little bit warmer now. And then we go into a high march. I'm alternating, but you can do the same arm, same leg. It doesn't matter. As long as you're warming up, getting a little bit warm. Nice and easy. Try to reach through full range of motion as you do these warm-up exercises. And now I'm just stepping forward and back while I do a figure of 8 with my arms. And then I'll go to the other foot and lead with it. And then back to march, and then a little side tap with the arms extended. Try to keep it moving along. Flow's important. And then a punch and a kick back, and I'm doing same arm, same leg, nice and easy. Nothing complicated. Kick back, punch, punch. And then I do a kick to the front, the same arm punching straight ahead, nice and easy. And then I'm back to marching, and we do a little bit of a heel dig, punching straight ahead, a heel dig. And then a side tap as we punch ahead, and you can punch up if you want, whatever works for you. Nice and smooth. Tap, punch, tap, punch, tap, punch, tap, punch. And then we go for a skate. All right. Now, I go to my weights, which are right here, and we're going to start off with a bit of a back press with the weights in front of our legs, and we're just going to take the weights back with a 180 degrees turn, nice and slowly. A slight pause at the end of the movement to let the muscle fire, nice and slowly. And nice and smooth. No jerky motion. Don't go fast. We're doing strengthening exercises, and it's important that we take our time. And you should feel your triceps contract as you do the exercise. All right, so I'm doing 1 set of 10 of everything. Okay, if you wish to do 2 sets or more, that's fine. I have a 3-pound weight, and I'm going to do bicep curls, and I'm alternating one to the other. So we have to do 20 of these to get 10 on each side. I'm keeping my elbow tacked in at my side, and I'm coming up nice and smoothly. There's a quarter turn of the weight out as I come up. Nice and smoothly. These are called bicep curls in supination. So my hand is facing towards the ceiling. Nice and smoothly. So we're shooting for 20 on this particular exercise. All right, after that, we're going to do side raises or shoulder abduction. Now, what you have to do with these is bend the elbows slightly, okay? And when you raise the weights, you come slightly to the front. So if I were to turn sideways, you see how my arms are slightly halfway between in front and beside. Okay, and we do those for 10 repetitions, nice and easy, but keep the elbows bent, really important. Nice and slow, nice and slow. You should feel that on the outsides of your arms and in your shoulders. All right. Now I'm going to do some simple shoulder flexion. We start with the weights at our side, beside our legs. And I raise one arm to shoulder height and down, and then the other. Again, we would do 20 repetitions to get 10 on each side. Nice and smooth and slow. Now the big thing is these weights are not too heavy for me. I can move them without straining. That's important. We don't want you to strain, we want you to exercise. I feel a little bit of resistance when I do it, but I'm not straining, which is important, because you don't want muscle soreness, you don't want to pull a muscle. If you're sore for more than a day or two, then the weight's been too heavy. Nice and smoothly. Now, we're going to move to external rotation. I've got my hands in the supine position, so my palms are facing the ceiling with the weight in each hand. And all I'm doing is with my elbows tacked against my sides, I rotate out nice and smoothly. And we do 10 of these. Big thing is try to keep the elbow in against your side. Nice and slow and easy. We're not rushing. All right, now we move overhead. Some of you may remember this as a military press or overhead shoulder flexion. Now, if you've got shoulder problems and this movement is difficult, then please keep the movement below shoulder height. So what I'm talking, I'm starting here and I'm pushing the weights up and in. Up and in. If you have a shoulder problem, then keep it in front of you, okay? All right, here we go. And in. So I'm going straight up, and then the weights are coming together at the top of the movement. Nice and slow. Now with a 3-pound weight, I can feel my shoulders working. Okay, so we've got to be careful. Don't hurt ourselves. Even if you were to go through these movements the first few times with no weight, that would be fine too. And then start off light, 1 or 2 pounds, not heavy. Upright rows, very easy. I have the weights in front of me, my knuckles facing forward, and I'm raising the weights up to about shoulder height. You'll notice how my elbows go straight out and the weights are at the same level as my elbows. We do these nice and easy. And we do 10 repetitions. Okay, now we're going to do heel raises. All right, so I've got the weights in my hand. All right, and I'm going to go up on my toes. Now, this requires some balance. And I'm not the greatest at balance. And I'm just trying to keep my balance and do it nice and easy, nice and slowly. That's the thing when you're weight training, you don't want to rush at it. We're trying to build muscular endurance as seniors. So also by doing the weights with my feet in contact with the ground, we call that closed chain exercising, closed kinetic chain. I am also working on preventing osteoporosis. So this is a good way, if the doctor's diagnosed you with that, to exercise with weights. All right, now we're going to sit down in our chairs. I'm sitting nice and straight, okay, my back straight, nice and tall. And I've got the weights about even with my legs. And what we're going to do, we call these lawnmowers, because this, you're trying to start a lawnmower. So I'm pulling up and back on an angle. And I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together as I come to the end of the movement. And we do these for 10. If you want to do 15 repetitions, 12, whatever, that's good because we're trying to build muscular endurance. Our ability to do a light workload, but to be able to do it many times. Keep that back straight. All right, so we would do that 10 times. All right, next, I'm going to put the weights on my thigh. Okay, so I'm sitting nice and straight in my chair. I've got the weights on my thigh, and I'm going to raise my leg up, hip flexion, up and down. Try to keep the back straight. Try not to bend. If you have tight hamstrings sometimes, that's a problem. I'll show that to you on the next one. So we're just lifting the leg up with the weights, providing the resistance. So with 2 3-pound weights, I've got 6 pounds of resistance. All right, then we move the weights to the other leg, sitting nice and straight, and again, hip flexion. Nice and smooth, easy does it. All right, then we move the weights to the other leg and we're going to do a straight leg raise with the weight on our thigh. So I'm sitting nice and straight and I just raise the leg up. And I can feel that, no problem. And after 10 on that side, I go to the other side. Leg is straight, and we begin. If you can pull your toes back towards yourself, that will help to contract the quadricep muscle. Nice and smooth. All right, now we take the weights back to the other side, and I'm going to do a toe tap and a heel dig with the weight on the thigh. Very simple. So we begin. Tap, pardon me, dig, tap, 1. And we just back and forth. Heel dig, toe tap. Heel dig, toe tap. Heel dig, toe tap. And we do this for 10 repetitions. I usually count when I tap my toe. And then we go to the other side. And again, heel dig, toe tap. Back and forth, nice and smoothly. We're not rushing it. All right. Now I'm going to do what I call kickbacks or triceps extension. So I'm going to put one weight on the floor. I'm sitting nice and straight, slightly forward. I've got my abdominals tight. My back is straight. I bring the weight up so that I have a 90-degree angle at my elbow, and then I simply straighten the arm out, straight back, nice and slowly. And you'll feel the contraction in your tricep muscles. Then we repeat 10 times. A lot of people worry about the muscle tone on the back of their arms. And this is a good way to address that problem. Nice and smoothly. So I'm 90 degree at the elbow and straight back. Okay, then we switch to the other hand, same thing, nice and straight, 90-degree bend at the elbow and back. So I'm kicking back, nice. Now I'm not snapping the arm, I'm moving it through the full range, nice and easy. And as I said, you can decide yourself what is the appropriate weight. How many repetitions? I'm just starting with one set of 10, okay? That will have to do with your experience in these exercises. All right, now I'm going to do a chest press. So all I'm doing is I'm sitting in the chair. I contract my abdominal, my core muscles by pulling the navel to the spine and push up. Nice and smooth. Make sure that your core muscles are tight when you do this. Now I have my back against the back of the chair, so that helps too. But we're just pushing up, nice and smooth. Okay, now we come to our lean backs. Now we have to be very careful with this. I've got the weight on my chest, okay? And all I'm going to do is I lean back, but I tighten or do a pelvic tilt as you do it. So it's back and back to neutral. Don't go into flexion, just take it back to neutral. And as you go back, tighten the core and pull forward. And don't rush at this because you want to make sure you're doing it properly. Now you may want to shoot for a target of 15 repetitions as this is a muscular endurance exercise. Okay, so we're going nice and slowly. And I can feel it in my abdomen, so I know that I am getting the work that I want. Nice and slowly. All right, now we come to our sit to stand exercise. Now this is really important. So I'm going to turn my chair sideways and I sit down on it. I put the weights in front of me, as you can see. My feet are shoulder width apart, and with a straight back, I stand up using my legs and hips. As I come down, I stick out my backside and settle on the chair and repeat. I'm not going fast, I'm taking my time. Nice and smoothly. Make sure you're using your legs. If you want to go up and come down and just before you bottom out, if you want to hover, that's fine, and then push up. Whatever works for you, but make sure your technique is good. Back straight and push with those powerful legs that you have. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to sit down on the chair, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some wrist curls, okay? So, this is wrist flexion, and all I'm doing is letting my hand drape over the end of the knee as I curl the weight up, nice and smoothly. And again, we would do 10 repetitions. Then I would go to the other hand. Again, my hand is hanging over the end of my knee. You can put the other hand on top of the forearm as you do this exercise. So the forearm is against my thigh as I curl the weight up. And again, 10 repetitions. Then I go back to the other side. I turn so my hand is facing the floor, put my hand on my forearm, and I extend the hand up, keeping the forearm in touch with the thigh. So this is called wrist extension, and it works the extensor muscles on the top of the forearm. Nice and smoothly. And I go to the other side, do the same thing, let my hand hang over my knee and extend up, keeping the forearm in contact with my thigh. These exercises and stretches I'm going to show you are very basic exercises for tennis elbow or lateral epicondylitis, whatever you want to call it. Okay, after I've used those weights, it's now time to stretch. So I go to my right arm and I take my hand, and as you can see, I've pulled back on the fingers of my hand to get a stretch along the bottom. So I'm stretching the flexor tendons on the back of my forearm. Again, 20 to 30 seconds on the hold is best. Then I move to the other hand, same thing. Pulling back on the fingers, and I'm feeling that stretch along the bottom of my forearm. Now, in order to stretch the extender tendons, I put my hand in front of me, and as you can see, my fingers are pointing towards the floor, and to get a little extra stretch, I rotate them out a bit. And I'm pushing a little bit very gently on the knuckles. Now, you do not want pain. You just want to feel a bit of tugging and pulling in those extensor tendons on the top of your forearm. No pain. And then we go to the other side and do the same thing. And I've rotated my fingers out a bit because that causes more stretch. And I'm just holding it to the point of stretch, not pain. Okay, and then a couple of other stretches. I'm going to go ahead and do a hamstring stretch in the chair. So I have one leg out straight, the other is bent. I place my hands on top of the leg that's bent at 90 degrees. Hinge from the hips until I feel a tugging and pulling in the back of my leg. And then we hold that for 20 or 30 seconds. And then I go to the other leg and do the same thing. Switch them up. Notice my back is straight, I've kept my head up. And what I'm doing is I'm lowering my chest towards the leg that's bent. So that helps to keep the back straight. Okay, after that stretch, I'm going to take my hands and lace them behind my back like so, shoulders down and back, fingers going towards the floor, and standing straight. And I can feel that stretch across my chest, around my collarbone, and right down. A bit in the shoulders too. And so we hold that for 20 or 30 seconds. And then we go in the other direction by doing a reaching stretch, and we're just reaching out in front of us as best we can. You can play with it a little bit if you want to raise your arms, feel the different spots where it's pulling. You can go down. The idea is the shoulder blades are pivoting out and you're pressing back with the thoracic spine. And holding. And then after that, we do a simple shoulder stretch, which you all know we've done in the classes many, many times. So I've just taken my arm at chest height, shoulder height across. I've gripped my hand at the elbow just to hold it in place, and so I can focus on the stretching of my shoulder. Again, 20 seconds, and I go to the other side and do the same thing there. And then I usually finish off with the calf stretch. So I put one foot back, one forward, heel down on the back foot, and just till I feel a gentle tug and pull in the back of the calf muscle on the leg that is straight. And then we switch up and go to the other side. Now, I haven't held some of these stretches for 20 to 30 seconds, but when you're doing the program at home, I strongly advise you to do that. Because what we want to do is put a little bit of creep in the muscle. We don't want it to snap back to where it was. So by holding it for a period of time, we're hoping that we can loosen it up a bit and maybe so it stretches right out. And maybe over a period of time, you can become more flexible. All right, that's the end of our program. So let's take a big breath in and let it go. Thank you so much for joining me for this exercise.